Hey guys, it's Kelsey. Welcome back to Leah and mine's Mojo series. Today she is working on Mercy Tiara's prompt to do a deconstructed layout. Today I'm using one of my own prompts, which is to get a new product that's inspiring to you. So a lot of times we've looked at our stash so many times that everything just kind of looks boring or stale and you're not able to really get some inspiration from it. So sometimes just going out and getting a new paper pad, something that's fresh to you, and making something with it can just get the ball rolling, and then you can kind of revisit your old stash. Or even sometimes I just like going and getting something new that coordinates with the old stash. That way it kind of revitalizes what I already have. I was at Michael's the other day and they had this deal where you bought one paper pad and got 2 free. So this is one of the ones I ended up picking up. I was really excited about it. I love my fall collections, but I loved this one because even though it is very fall, I felt like you could use it for a bunch of different things. And in particular, my mom's wedding photos I thought went really well with it. So I have my new paper pad. I'm just gonna walk through kind of what I do when I get a new paper pad and how I kind of decide where to go, because even when you buy a new paper pad, sometimes you can get stuck because everything's new and it's just hard to start cutting into it. So first thing I did already off camera before I started this was there's a couple cut apart sheets in here, and I'm not including this one, although this could definitely be a cut apart sheet for an alphabet, but there's a couple cut apart sheets in here. And I went ahead and fussy cut all the elements out and trimmed up the cut aparts. Here's one of them, and here's the other one. So I went ahead and there's duplicates of the designs. So I went ahead and fussy cut, and I think that helps because that way you already have some products ready for things like this where you don't have coordinating embellishment. This kind of helps you get your embellishment started at least. I have some banners, I have some tags, I have some little journaling spots. So this right away will help me create my page. And I always find stuff like this, if you already just fussy cut it and it's at the ready, it's easier to use when you get to that creating point. So that's my tip number one. Move my photos a little bit. I really want to use some of the pumpkin paper in here because it's so cute. It is giving me like Cinderella vibes, which I think is adorable, but it's for my mom's wedding, so I really don't want to make it too Cinderella-y. But you can see a couple of these papers I was looking at. This pumpkin one, it's so cute. I think this would have been adorable if I weren't trying to keep this kind of more wedding themed. She got married in February, so it's not really, if she got married in fall like I did, then, you know, I think that would be different. But I'm just gonna go through and just kind of see if there's one particular page or one color combination that really speaks to me and is inspiring me. I love this one. I really feel like this floral is very reminiscent of the appliques on her dress and her floral arrangement. I like that it kind of goes from this mint into this blue. I think right away that kind of gives me leeway to pull in a blue pattern and it would coordinate. But what I typically like to do if I'm gonna stick to 2 or 3 colors is if I pick my main paper, I kind of want a contrasting paper, and even just seeing this peachy pink color with this mint, I love that. So I might try to find a paper that's more along that line. And I definitely will probably try to use that tag unless I find that color paper and I don't need the tag. I love this one too. But again, it's the pumpkins. So my cut apart sheets. There's yellow. I love this mustardy yellow too, but because her dress is the champagne-y gold and there are gold accents, I kind of want to leave the yellow out of it. I'm going to pull this gold, speaking of which, in case I want to use that. I don't want to use a whole lot of this paper, but I think if it was like a skinny mat around the photos or like an accent piece, or I took a punch to it, I think that would be really nice in small chunks. Even maybe a frame around the page to introduce that gold. I love this one too, but I like this one more and I don't need both. I feel like this tan kind of matches the champagne-y tone of her dress, but I feel like this paper is too boring for how glamorous my mom looks. So I'm gonna skip it for now, and if I need a more neutral toned down paper, I know it's there. I'm going to skip the pinks because I really want this peachy coral. I love this. This would have been a beautiful background, but again, I'm gonna stick with my floral, but if I didn't have that floral, this probably would have been my background. This stripe is nice. I'm not going to pull it yet because I don't think I'll need it, but I know it's there. This I think is my best bet as far as that color, yes. I wish we had more paper with this color. I think there was only one other paper with this color in it, and it had like a big floral down the side. Yeah. Which I could like just use this part of it if I really needed that color, but gold is in my color scheme, so I'm just going to pull that. So that's kind of how I start. I like to just find like two colors I really like together. In this case, it's the mint and this coral, and I happen to just pull some gold, but I might not need it because this has gold in it, and start from there. One thing that really helped me get unstuck from using paper pads, especially new paper pads, is I used to be where I got a new paper pad and I didn't want to pull the papers out unless I knew I was going to use them. And I found that really restrictive because I wouldn't pull out papers I probably would have used because if I didn't use them, I didn't want them loose in the paper pad. And what really helped me use and create is to just pull them. If you think you might want to use it, just pull it. Like, it's okay if it goes back into the paper pad loose, but the likelihood of you getting stuck or not using that paper when you would have otherwise is just a lot higher unless you just pull it out. I hope that makes sense. Kind of got jumbled in my head, but pull what you think you want to use because it will help you in the inspiration and creating the page phase. I'm gonna set this aside. Usually once I have the papers I want to use, I'll go ahead if I have embellishment or cut aparts and kind of pull what I know coordinates. So if I was going to need, if I needed like a strip of this for a banner or a punch, I could definitely do that and then just fussy cut this for a different page. I do like this color if it's needed, but I'm not gonna pull it in right now. There's the mustard. This is beautiful. I definitely could use bits of this or even fussy cut this floral four corner embellishment. So I'm gonna pull it for now. I don't really think I'll use the sentiment, but if I need something and the sentiment's gonna be in frame, I can cover it up with something or make a tag cluster or something that's gonna cover that. Let's see what else I have. I don't think I'm gonna pull the navy for now. Mustard. There's some gold. I'll pull this one just because it has pink. Thankful, thank you. No mustard. I'm gonna pull this, not because I'm gonna use this pattern, but if I want this tag in the pattern of the background for some reason, I'll just chop that and then I can use this scrap for punches or layering or something. Navy, mustard. This is cute. I know I'm trying to stay away from the navy, but I'm gonna pull it in case I want it in a layer because that could be a cute fussy cut back banner. Ooh, journaling spot in that color. So this kind of gives me a base of what I have to work with. And this also kind of helps you get unstuck rather than looking at a whole paper pad and all the products and all the embellishment. Just narrowing it down right away to like a color scheme you want to work with makes it a lot less intimidating and can help give you ideas than maybe looking at all the products at once. So I'm gonna put this in the paper pad and forget about it because I'm not using these. All right, so this is where we are starting from. I'm going to go ahead and speed up and do this normal process video. We can see this page come together, but I hope this kind of helps you, getting out of jam by going and finding a new product that you're inspired about, but then breaking into that product if you're one of those people that kind of has an issue with starting on new products and cutting into all the new things. So let's get going with the process video. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so now that I pretty much know I want this blue as the background, I'm gonna go ahead and start there. I do like the idea of having this gold pattern paper be a thin border around the outside just to go ahead and introduce that gold. I know if I use that gold in the page, it's only gonna be in a small portion just to give a little bit of that color and that shine. So having a little bit of it around the outside helps kind of make that more cohesive, especially because I'm planning matting my photos in this paper. I really like when the page and the photos are matted in the same paper. It just kind of makes the whole thing cohesive from the start. And this is, I think I've mentioned in one of these other Mojo videos, a really good way to just start your page if you're stuck and you don't know where to start. This is a good thing to go ahead and cut into paper, go ahead and make your first move, because a lot of the times you can stare at your products for forever, but until you just make a move and you just start doing something, you're never gonna start. So what I like to do when I'm matting my background is I gut a large portion from the inside of the background paper, so you can see I'm not wasting that whole paper just for the outside border. I have this whole chunk I saved from the inside that's covered by the blue pattern paper, and now I'm actually going to use that paper to mat both of my photos. So I really like how that looks. I think this gold right next to the photos where she has this kind of champagne-y, shimmery dress is really pretty. And I love the gold with this mint. I think it looks really, really nice. So I'm going to mat both of these. I know I want these photos staggered. I think initially I'll stagger them like this. I like how in the left photo she's looking down at her dress, but it also kind of creates this flow where you follow her line of sight down to the second photo. So that's why I initially matted them like this. But you'll see as I get to layering, it kind of makes layering awkward because it makes me want to layer over the right hand photo. But then my embellishment cluster is in the center of the page, which really kind of makes me feel restricted. It's more natural to me to have my clusters on the edge and then kind of flow into the page that way. So I think you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to start clustering where it feels natural, which is over the right hand photo since it's lower, and it just kind of starts to look weird. So you'll see I eventually flip-flop which photo is higher and move my embellishment over to the left-hand photo, and then it looks a lot more natural to me. So I love this banner. I went ahead and fussy cut this Grateful and Blessed. I am not minding the introduction of the navy. The background kind of has multiple tones of this greeny blue, so I really like that the navy kind of accentuates that. I kind of get to this point. I also fussy cut this floral element from a that other cut apart piece. I fussy cut the florals, and I like how those look on the bottom right hand corner. That also brings in more navy, so that color is kind of already balanced. But at this point, I really do like how the mint and the navy look, and for a moment I almost contemplating not including the peach, but I really do like the peach and the mint. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to end up throwing in the mint, but I do have an idea for a future page now to maybe use the products in this paper pad to do a more monochromatic layout with the mint and the navy, or the aqua and the navy. So that's another idea for another time. But now that I am insisting on getting peach in this color scheme because that's really what I wanted to do initially, I'm trying to figure out how I want things layered. I love this peach colored tag, but it's kind of giving me some issues because there's no way to layer it how I like to layer tags with this text either only partially showing, or it just wasn't working out. So I'm thinking some other elements I can pull in to create layers in the same way. So I pulled in a gold and white tag from my stash, and then a couple layery embellishments I always like to include when I don't want to add something distracting but that I want layers, and so that's a glassine bag and a doily, and I really like how that looks, but it's just kind of looking awkward, and I'm struggling finding a way to include the peach in the top portion of my design. So I went ahead and pulled in my peach pattern paper. I'm thinking maybe I'll just map both of these photos on the peach and I'll pull in the color that way. And it ends up looking too blocky, so I kind of have to revisit that too. But that's just part of the process. I find one of the ways that really helps me not get stuck is being open to changing your design. A lot of the times when you get stuck on wanting to do something specific and it's not working, you can just get frustrated. So being open to kind of tweaking it as you go and changing your design is helpful. So what I thought I was going to do initially with these products ended up being not at all what I was going to do, but I really end up liking the end result. I'm trying to stick down all of these pieces where I think they're going to go. But I really struggle with this embellishment being on the right hand side. I want to have this photo area higher, and then the glassine bag and the doily kind of run off at the top. And I have issues with this peach layer running too far down into the bottom right hand cluster. I really don't want this peach pattern running into the right hand cluster I'm planning on having. So it's just looking really weird spatially. And I realized once I kind of alter how I have my photos layered, it really helps break all this up. But for right now, I'm still going to try with this peach layer. I'm like, maybe if I trim it down a little bit, maybe if I create a decorative edge, it'll look like it goes better. But I still end up having to change my mind in a little bit. But this little golden white tag from my stash does not have a hole reinforcer, so I just grabbed a white one. I really prefer my tags to have hole reinforcers, and I usually always thread them with twine. So I just added a white hole reinforcer and threaded it with some golden white twine. And now I'm back with the peach paper trying to make it work. I think maybe if I have a decorative edge on the bottom, it'll make it look like it's more cohesive. Maybe the scallop will balance the doily. So you can see me punching my little decorative edge on the bottom. But yeah, I tried the decorative edge on the top, but spatially it's still not working because I'm really trying to push these layers up so they don't crowd the bottom cluster, and then the doily and the tag run off the top of the page. So I'm just struggling right now trying to figure out what I want to do. Another thing I really find helps get unstuck is looking at your products in a different way than they were designed for. So you can see this peach tag to the left. I really want to use this peach tag, but I'm having issues with the text at the top. So what I end up deciding is flipping the tag upside down, creating a tag from the striped portion, and pretty much have my tag be the opposite side of what the tag was designed for. And then I still have the top portion of the tag to use because it ends up being off the page, so I save it. And that'll get used up by the end too. But I kind of want to mention that ahead of time so when it happens you can kind of see what I mean. Yeah, I'm really struggling with this pink color right now, so I think maybe I will just look at my bottom right hand cluster and see how I'm going to incorporate this peach color down there, and then maybe that'll help me get unstuck with this peach layer on the top. So I'm thinking maybe I will use that journaling spot, but it's like too big and too wide, and like proportionally it's not working right for the size down there. It's crowding my photo clusters. I really do love having this little tag down there. I think that looks really cute, and again it pulls in that twine from the top layer, but I really want a peachy color down there, and so it's just I'm struggling. I'm pretty sure this is where I decide to flip-flop how the photos are staggered, and that really helps me get out of this jam here. It just takes me a minute to pull everything off. But you'll see. I just realized that doily and that tag, they're too high, and I want these photos up higher so they don't crowd that cluster, and it just wasn't working. They're running off the top of the page the way I had them, so I tried scooching them down a little bit. I do like how it looks more condensed like that. I like that layery look where it's more tight against the tag and the photos, but having this on the right hand photo and having this cluster essentially in the middle of the page, I don't like it. I like things offset and more to a side, so it'll look better once I kind of move that and switch the photos. But this is where I decide, hey, the text on this tag is messing with me. Let me use the side of the tag that doesn't have any text. So I cut the striped portion off from the bottom of this tag. I'm turning that part into a tag, and that will actually go where I was trying to use my the top portion, and it just wasn't working. So again, just adding a white hole reinforcer. I'll add some golden white twine, and I think that looks a lot better. And that was basically just what I needed for my peach element for the bottom portion of the page. So I'm going to get that threaded, and you'll see that works a lot better than what I was trying to do earlier in this bottom right hand corner. I definitely want this tag there now, but now it's really really crowding the photo layers. So I kind of fix one problem and it kind of makes it harder to work on a different problem. So I just reevaluate and I end up just taking this peach layer off altogether because it was working before I tried to add that. And I will just work on getting that peach color into this photo area in a different way. But yeah, I'm ignoring that problem right now because I'm liking what I'm doing in the bottom right hand corner, so I'm just going to go ahead and focus on that for a minute. I did pop up this Love You Lots tag up on some foam, so there's a little bit of dimension. And now that I've done that, I am revisiting the photo area. So I went ahead and removed the peach layer. It was causing issues, and now I'm trying to just backtrack and find out where along this process did I start running into problems. And I pretty much realized, oh, it was when I staggered the photos the way I did. It made me want to layer the embellishment in a way that wasn't flowing. So I don't know quite what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to end up flip-flopping the way these photos are staggered, and I'll go from there. But I'm just staring at it for a while to try to figure out what I'm going to do. Here we go. This is where I start thinking maybe I just need to move this embellishment cluster to the left-hand photo. But because currently the left-hand photo is higher, that puts that embellishment cluster even higher than it was before. So once I figure out that I need to have the right-hand photo higher so the cluster can be on the upper left, it works out better. I'm still ignoring the problem and going through my embellishment, but I don't believe I pull in anything else. I'm just trying to find other ways to camouflage the issues rather than just addressing what I'm getting stuck on, which is fine. This is why I like keeping this part in the process. I probably could trim out some of this sitting around, but I really do want you guys to see that like I struggle too, even as I'm creating this Mojo series about getting your mojo back and not being stuck. It happens to everybody, and sometimes you just got to look at it and really dissect what's bothering you in order to figure out how to fix it. So just it happens to all of us. And this is where I'm like, okay, it's the way the photos are staggered. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this glue off the back so I can stagger them differently. And you can see now that I've staggered them the opposite way, when I start layering above this left-hand photo, it just flows a lot better. And I really like this because I already have this cluster in the lower right-hand corner, so by having my other cluster more towards the upper left-hand corner, it creates this diagonal flow. It makes everything look really balanced and just flow nicer. So now I'm using the top part of this peach tag because it's going to be tucked so far you don't see the text, which was one of my issues. I was having issues with the text visibility, but this way I just don't have to worry about it. And I don't feel bad about covering that much of that peach tag because I salvaged the bottom half of it that's in that lower right hand corner. So right away I'm like, I like this so much better. I got my tag up there, I have my peach introduced. I really like the way the doily and the glassine bag all layer up, and because now it's on that side, it's not running into this bottom right hand corner because of the spacing. And this is where I'm like, I really want to introduce more of that peach pattern, but I can't do it the same way I was doing before. It looked too boxy when it was in that big block. It was running into the bottom right hand corner, so I figured I could just use it in a different way. I definitely want some layers behind my photo with this peachy paper, but I can't do it the way I was doing it before. So what I decided to do, and I really love doing this when I'm using glassine bags, is to pull in some vellum elements because vellum has the same kind of texture as the glassine bag. What I decided to do was take that peach paper and tear it into strips versus using it in a big block, and kind of just do these torn strips behind my photo and layer them up with some vellum strips. That way I'm pulling in that color, I'm pulling in some more of that glassine bag texture, I'm pulling in some more layers, but this way it's more spaced out, it's more airy, it's not blocky, it still adds texture with that torn detail, and I really feel like that's the best way to compromise with the issues I was having. This kind of just solved all of my issues, and ended up really liking how this looks. I believe I got this idea because I saw someone use a sketch that kind of had paint swipes behind their paper or behind their photos, and it kind of gave me the idea to do that with my torn paper strips. So that's kind of what I decided to do. I'm just trying to get my spacing right and how far I want them running out of the right side of the page. I kind of want them all at different distances, just to create some interest and really give you that layery look. So it just takes me a minute to get them all spaced how I want and glued down. So I think I might just skip forward here a little bit to where they're all glued down. But you can see how they're layered along the right side, and then I'll just have a little bit of them tucked along the left side too, just so it looks like it's a full strip that runs behind the whole photo area, even though it's just bits and pieces that I'm using. So I'm going to skip forward in a little bit and you can see what I mean. Okay, and so now they're pretty much all glued down. I'm gluing down my last vellum element, but now you can see from the bits on the left and the right, they kind of look like these whole strips that run behind the photo, and I think that looks really cute. So I'm pretty happy with that as my layering. Now I just need to focus on what I want to do for final touches. I kind of don't feel like I need to do journaling because it's pretty obvious that it'll be within my mom's wedding pages in my book. So I know this is for her wedding and that's her wedding dress, and these are just beautiful photos of her. But I do want a title, and I kind of want enamel dots or something to kind of round out my embellishment. Everything's very papery right now, so I want something that has a different texture to kind of help. So I love adding enamel dots as a final touch. I'm just looking for kind of an aqua or a mint, and then that kind of corally peach color for my enamel dots. So I'm just adding a minty aqua in both corners and then a kind of corally peach in both corners. And I think that's a nice little fun finishing touch. And I also like that that's on the diagonal as well, so it continues that balance and that flow. And then everything I have left is pretty much my title. I do go in and add some Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine on the opposite diagonal and kind of the open areas of the green, just so there's some pops of gold shimmer in the empty space. But I definitely want to do a title, and I definitely want my title to be gold, just to bring in more of that shine to the middle of the page. I really like these Happy Thickers. It's actually a gold foiled cardstock on top of an aqua foam. So I really like that from an angle. When you look at the title, you see it's basically the same color as the background. So I really like how that makes it cohesive. But you got this aqua foam that's topped with gold, and I think that's just perfect for this layout. I really wanted to title this something bride. I really wanted to call it Beautiful Bride or something like that, but I was having issues because I only have one E left, and every descriptive word I could think of also used an E, and I needed the E for the word bride. So what I decided to do, and this is a really good way if you get stuck with titles and you kind of have something in mind but you can't spell out that word with your alphabet set, use your phone and go to the thesaurus for whatever word you're thinking of, and it's really good about giving you descriptive words that mean the same thing, but maybe you have the letters for those. So that's why I decided to do, and the best option I could find for the word beautiful that did not use E is dazzling. So I'm just going to title this Dazzling Bride. I think that's also appropriate because I am using so much gold that's sparkly, it's dazzling. So that's just my way around that when I kind of get stuck title-wise. But now that my title's down, I'm going to do my Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine, and then that is it. So close-ups are here in a minute. Make sure you check out Leah's video. Again, she is doing the deconstruction prompt from Mercy TR to unstick her Mojo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.